All from one family on stage, their first gig, the Corrs.
It didn't go in that we could actually be meeting our producer or that this could be a major record deal for us.
If you feel the emotion in every song, you give across the emotion of the song.
You have been a wonderful audience and we will remember this. We will be back.
When you're put in a situation where you have to perform, where you have to deliver no matter what, if something happens.
That's why we're doing it. We're doing it because we love it.
Hello and welcome to another very special episode of CorrsCast. We're here talking about a certain tour that may have just happened here in 2023. I don't usually date my episodes for very specific reasons, but we've just ended a tour of many places for the Corrs, some after 20 plus years now. So we've just had the Corrs tour Indonesia, the Philippines, Australia, and then just finished up on New Zealand a number of days ago. And I thought it'd be a wonderful occasion to try and bring as many of these different locations together and talk with fans that were at these gigs to bring a flavour of what it was like, to get an understanding of what it was like. For some of these guests, it would have been their first time seeing the band perform live. Some of them, maybe a few more than that under their belt. But each of these time zones and each of these guests have a different story to tell. And it's one that I can't wait to hear more about and share as we go towards this episode, the second special episode of the season so far. I'm particularly proud that I have 7 individuals in this room, which are fans, fine, but also 7 time zones. That's incredible. So thank you so much for being so flexible, especially some fans that we've had on the show before from Australia. I wanted to start by calling everyone's attention to the fact that there are fans that will listen to this that will have never had the opportunity to see the band perform live before in their lives, be it because of their location, a disability, a personality trait that just wouldn't suit them in a live environment, financial or family commitments or constraints. Some of the fans that will listen to this show will live this tour through what you will share, through the stories and the magic that you'll conjure up through your experience of seeing the Corrs on this past tour. And I just wanted to keep that in mind, that this isn't a few hours of recording of us thinking about how much money we've spent or how lucky we are because we did A, B, and C and the other fans didn't. This is more of a sharing, a place where we can celebrate the Corrs music, not to rub it in other people's faces and other fans that have been less fortunate or less able, but to celebrate the music and the band we love. We do have some returning guests to the podcast. So a huge welcome back to those that have been on before. I'm specifically looking at Wendy, Rachel, and Francisco. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? How are you, Simon?
Hey, Simon.
Hey, I'm very well. But we also have new guests, some of which are listeners, some of which I've spoken to through the years and have great contact with. And it's a great honor to have them on the show as well. We're spanning 7 time zones with this recording. So I guess it would be great if even the people that have been on before can go through and introduce themselves, your name, where you're from, maybe the current time and how sleepy you are. I don't know. I can dictate this and say, let's go in the order that the tour happened. Mentari, that means you're first.
Okay, let's do this.
Let's do this. Where are you based at the moment?
I'm based in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Wonderful. It's so great that we can have that time zone represented and that fan base represented. So we'll talk more in a minute. I guess I should come next to Shiela. How are you doing?
Hi, good evening from Manila. It's 8:25 p.m. here in Manila, and it's good to finally see you all virtually. Yeah.
Cool. It's such a joy to have you with us. I know that you're quite a pillar for the fan community in your region of the world, and it is honestly an honor to have you with us and a joy to be able to delve further into the experiences that you had as a fan with the band in your country. I think we should next it's probably going to be Patricia next because you were at the Perth gig, correct?
Yes, correct. So, I'm from Germany. It's 1 p.m. here, and it was actually my first Corrs gig. I'm so happy to talk about this and to be a part of this podcast. So, thanks so much for having me.
You are really welcome, and I think I'll just bring a really fresh new aspect to those that haven't seen them before to have you on, and it'll reignite the passion that the rest of us have that have seen them potentially many times now, to hear what it's like for a newer fan to hear them in this stage of their career. It's going to be wonderful. So I can't wait to touch base as we come around on that. I guess it's a kind of wrestle between the last three of you that have been on before. Wendy, go on.
Hi, I'm Wendy. I'm from Brisbane, Australia. It's about 10:30 p.m. and I'm about 40% sleepy, so I'm okay. I'm
cool.
Awake enough to talk about the chords.
I can't think of a time when you won't be. No, definitely not. I know Francisco's going to say ladies first, so Rachel.
Hey everyone, I'm Rachel from Melbourne, Australia. It's currently 11:30 p.m, but I could stay up all night talking about the course, so it's fine.
And last but not least, I don't know, who's this guy in the corner I can see over here?
Hey, how are you? How are you, Sama? Hi, how are you, everybody? So my name is Francisco. I am now in Mexico. It's pretty early for me. It's like 6:30 in the morning, so I'm just starting the day.
Wow.
I believe I am the one that is behind all of you guys. So here we are. I have not even been at home. I'm just achieving 24 hours since I just landed like yesterday. But here we are, and more than welcome to be at this particularly an excellent podcast that we really love a lot.
Flattery will get you everywhere, Francisco. Thank you so much. I guess I need to really start by going through, again, I think we'll go through in order of the dates of each of the gigs. And if it's okay with everyone else, unless you've got better suggestions, we'll just go through each person. And we'll go and we'll ask, which gig were you at? What was it like? How did it feel? What were your memories of the gig? What were the highlights, etc.? So Mentari, I know a bit of pressure, you're going first, but then I guess there was a pressure as the whole world was looking at Indonesia after we were waiting for a tour or some kind of gigs for so long. Sure, we had the special gig last year in Australia. Wonderful for Australian fans. We discussed it at many hours length. But really, the whole world's Corrs fans' eyes were on you for this gig. What were they going to play? The set list discussions, everything. What was the build-up like to first knowing the announcement happened? Take us from the announcement, maybe you buying tickets. How did this go for you?
Well, I already knew, or at least expected, something was going to take place here the moment they announced the concert in Manila. So when I saw that they were announcing that they were going to Manila, I was like, oh, they must be going to Jakarta as well, because it just makes sense that way. It's in the same region, and Indonesia and the Philippines are two of their biggest markets outside Europe. So I already expected that, and I knew that it was only a matter of time until it was officially announced.
That's really perceptive of you. Was it a kind of, you were waiting at the screen to buy tickets and pressing that button? Was it a scramble for tickets?
The ticketing process was relatively hassle-free, which was really good, because I think everyone expected that there would be a huge turnout for this concert. Like you all have already known, this would be their first ever concert in Jakarta in 22 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of us hadn't got the chance to see them back in 2001. So a lot of us were too young to go back then, myself included.
Mm-hmm.
So what really surprised me in a good way was that they offered a standing section for the concert, because they didn't have a standing section last year in the Hunter Valley, which I was also fortunate to have attended. So it was already expected that most people would opt to go to the standing section, because it was way closer to the stage than the seats. And from the moment it was finally officially announced, the excitement was building on social media. It was nuts. So for those who didn't know, I ran the Corrs fan page on Instagram. So it's one of the Indonesian Corrs fan pages on the platform. And the day of the announcement, oh my God, I don't know how many notifications I got that day. My phone kept vibrating with
It's
notifications of people commenting. It was blowing up. People asking questions and the likes, and it was pretty funny that people kept asking about the tickets and all that sort of thing when I barely knew anything more than anyone back then. But I tried my best, and it was, like I said, it was nice that the ticketing process was relatively hassle free, so I didn't hear much trouble from people buying, and soon enough. And I think soon enough the seating section was all sold out. I don't think they said that the standing section was sold out, but you wouldn't know from seeing what happened there.
That's a great overview. Thank you. And I can imagine, I guess, in those times where there's so little known and some regarding buying tickets, those social media elements is where we go to, and that's who we hound again and again and again. So I'm not surprised you had a load of notifications blowing your phone up. I guess we'll go straight to the gig for brevity, because there's a lot of us here.
Yeah.
Tell me the morning of the gig. Did you meet up with other fans? Was there any events beforehand? Were you singing in the streets? Were you camping out overnight?
Yeah, well, the venue of the gig is a bit far from where I live, so it's in the north near the coastline. So my friend and I stayed at a hotel near the venue, and we had plenty of people coming from other cities as well. And so I got to meet some of them in the morning and in the afternoon before that.
Lovely.
And I know that I've seen them before. It wasn't my first time seeing the Corrs, but like you said, the whole world's eyes were on us, seeing that this was their first official tour in so many years, and the fact that it happened in my home country made me a lot more nervous than the last time.
I guess nervous and incredibly proud at the same time, right?
Yeah, sure. And mostly in disbelief though, and knowing that they decided to start right here in a place that they hadn't been to in 22 years. It was amazing.
It's quite a statement. Yeah, I definitely read some press saying regarding the set list that they were trying to focus on the tracks that were the most popular, that had, Jim was quoted as saying he was looking at the ones that had charted the best and that were also streaming the best to organize and to produce a set list that everybody would be happy with.
Yeah.
There was quite an amazing, is it Ravel Entertainment over there that were promoting it?
Yeah.
Their Instagram was absolutely the lifeblood for fans around the world at that moment, because they had several people on the account at the same time with cameras in different sections taking clips of all the waiting areas, fans piling in, the merch stands. And then when the gig finally started, they were doing clips upon clips of every single song so that we could work out what the set list was and what you were experiencing almost a couple of minutes afterwards. And just seeing from the photos and the videos I've seen, just the crowd in that standing section looked absolutely incredible. So what was it like?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I was lucky enough to get in the third or fourth row, so pretty close to the stage. It was really nice view, and it was a nice spot to take photos and videos as well. Oh, it was unbelievable. Like, it was so packed. Everyone was screaming their hearts out, and everyone was singing along to the songs. And I think you could see in the videos that a couple of times Andrea had to stop because we were so loud singing along to the songs. And there were some surprises in the set lists. Like I refused to see the set list before the gig because I wanted to be surprised. I didn't want to be spoiled. And what really stood out for me in particular was Don't Say You Love Me, because they hadn't performed that in so many years. And I knew that they were going to perform either that or All the Love in the World, since those two songs were and still are huge in Asia.
Sure.
And so the moment Sharon played the violin intro, everyone just everyone just went crazy. There was nothing like it. I didn't record the full video, but I had small clips from that song, and every time I go back and watch it, it was nuts. I'd never seen anything like that.
The best gigs I've definitely experienced with the band have been standing gigs. It's just so different to have the vibe of the people you're next to, and you're able to move.
Exactly.
You're standing. You're not in front of anybody else that's sat down. You're not inconveniencing anyone, and you can be as passionate and loud and enjoy the gig as much as possible.
I think I'd never scream so loud as I did that day, because I remember screaming so loud along with everyone around me when they played the video intro, because it was exactly the same video intro that they used during the talk on Corrs and in Blue Tours, and it was fantastic. I didn't expect them to use that and to actually start the set with Only When I Sleep, just like the old times. And it was I got quite emotional, because I grew up watching videos of that exact opening sequence on YouTube and the likes, and to be able to see that in person after all these years was incredible. And I know that for some people in the crowd, it brought them back to the Jakarta concert back in 2001, because they used exactly the same video back then. Then plenty of us got emotional at that moment amid all the screaming. It was incredible.
I can't imagine what it must have been like for the fans that were at that original Jakarta concert, and then 21 years later hearing the same intro and starting the set with the same song. 21 years of your life has gone past, but you still love this band, you still love this music, you're still passionate about it, and you're still surrounded by thousands of others that are equally as passionate and loving it, and obviously are just as emotional in the response and welcoming that band back to that country again after so long. So thank you for sharing that. Did you want me to read through the set list that you experienced on that day? Yeah. Sure. So we started with Only When I Sleep, into Give Me a Reason, Locker and Shore, Forgiven Not Forgotten, What Can I Do, Little Lies, which I'm sure had its own intro by Andrea, Don't Say You Love Me, which was the kind of surprise song. Not for us a surprise as such, but certainly new and very welcome. It's lovely to hear that song again.
Yeah.
Into Little Wing, No Frontiers, Joy of Life, Ellis Island, Haste to the Wedding, Radio, Queen of Hollywood, Dreams, So Young, I Never Loved You Anyway, and then an encore of Runaway, Breathless, and finishing up with Toss the Feathers. So, an amazing set list, and yeah, some out and out incredible songs. Were you expecting more songs? Is there anything you would have changed?
We were the only concert where they didn't play Summer Sunshine, and it's one of my favorite songs of theirs. So I would add that to the set list as well.
Yeah, I think you're in good company on that.
Yeah, and if possible, I would prefer that they perform All the Love in the World. So like I said, it was such a big number in Asia, Indonesia, and the Philippines in particular. And you know how they perform it live in a more of an acoustic settings, which really enhance the vocal harmonies between the sisters. I would have loved to see that live.
It's a beautiful harmonic song that when they perform it live, it's almost, they give it all, but it's stripped back as well. It's really lovely.
Yeah.
What was it like after the gig? And was there a bit of a sort of a post Corrs gig come down where you were like, oh no.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. I couldn't sleep afterwards, and I remember I was crying by the end of the gig. So, and one of my friends who went with me had to hug me and calm me down by the end, because I was crying so much, because I still couldn't quite believe that it happened, that I finally got to see the Corrs in my home country. I've been dreaming about this for years, and I can't stress this enough that the crowd made everything better. I knew that there would be a lot of people. I knew that the crowd would be enthusiastic, but I didn't expect such a reaction from the audience, because it was nuts, and we were already screaming even before the video intro, which Sharon told me about when we met in Perth, because I reckon they could hear us screaming from the backstage.
Wow.
As well. And yeah, I mean, you've seen the photos. There were so many of us, and the reaction and how we responded to each song, how we sang along, even in songs that you don't normally get people crazily sing along to, like Ellis Island and Queen of Hollywood. We just somehow we made it work, so that we all sang together. We knew every word in the lyrics, and that was nuts. Every time I look back and see the videos that I took, I still can't quite believe it. I would say that it's the best crowd that I've ever experienced. It was unbelievable.
Wow. Well, thank you for bringing us in on that experience and sharing that insight, because from the pictures and videos, it certainly looked to be that way. It's nice to know that seeing the Corrs live in your hometown not only met your expectations, but surpassed them, which must be great.
Definitely.
It's just wonderful for that fan community, and thank you for sharing. That's great. Did you go to any other gigs on this tour?
Yeah, I went to the one in Perth as well.
Then maybe we'll circle back when we talk to others that went to Perth a little bit later. But thank you. I guess I should now say that the next set list, the band decided to add the song that you wanted, which was Summer Sunshine. And that was at the Manila gigs in the Philippines. Shiela, you were there. Tell us I guess much in the same way, how did the build-up work for your country and getting tickets and announcements? Lead us, please, from there to then what you may have organised for the fan community in your region, and then the gig. Feel free.
Actually, at the beginning, we didn't really expect that they are coming to Manila. We already booked our tickets for Sydney.
Oh, wow.
That was last December. So when they announced they're coming to Australia again, one of my Corrs band friends, we thought, why don't we try to go to Australia, since there's enough time to apply for a visa, and let's just try it. So when that was December when they finally had sales, right? So we booked for our tickets back then. So if I'm not mistaken, around February, there were like some, what do you call this, teaser of Breathless.
Yeah. Yes, there were. Yeah.
Yes, and we were very shocked about that because we were really expecting Australia. So when that happened, and then suddenly a few days later, they finally announced they're coming to Manila. So me and my friend were thinking, so are we still going to Sydney or are we going to go? Are we going to watch it in Manila or are we going to just watch both of the tours? But I thought maybe it would be great to just watch it in Manila in our home country. So we decided to just book for the tickets here. And since I know a lot of sports fan friends, I just thought maybe it would be easy to just touch base these people, these fans in Australia who may want to get the tickets because we had good seats in Sydney, almost like if I'm not mistaken, that was almost near the stage, like check-in row.
Lovely.
So I thought maybe, let's try. And, it would be lovely to see them because I've been a fan of the Corrs for 25 years and I haven't seen them in person. Ever since I became a fan.
Wow.
So it was really special to see them in my home. So that's why I finally decided, okay, let's just do Manila. And I'm going to buy 2 tickets for both nights. So I watched both nights. So that's the nearest seat at the stage.
Lovely.
And yes, it was very exciting for all of us because same with Mentari. The Corrs came in Manila 22 years before. But 22 years ago, I was just 15 years old and living in an Asian household with very strict parents. We are not allowed to go to concerts or events like these. So I was a very frustrated teenager back then when I was 15. And I told myself, okay, I'm going to work hard so that when I finally become a professional or finally get a job, I'm going to go to the Corrs concert. And it's like one of my life goals.
I was going to say, that sounds like a good life goal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why without any hesitation, I really booked for the nearest seat at the stage for 2 nights here in Manila.
Oh, that's incredible. That's a cool story.
Also, I'm happy that along the way, the ticket that I booked for Sydney was actually sold to one of our good Corrs fan friends there.
Lovely.
So it was like, okay, that's very nice.
Yeah, it comes full circle or full sphere if we talk about the whole world, I guess. But that's great that it didn't go to waste, and yet you were able to secure a ticket that somebody else could appreciate, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
Again, the Corrs, you hadn't seen them live. They're coming to your home country, your hometown.
Yeah.
Before anywhere else in the world, after Indonesia. Did I hear right? I'm sure it was you. You've organized a lot of pre-concert things. Is that correct? Tell us more.
Yes. With Yen, she's the admin of the Corrs Philippines. So we just started off a GC with all of our Filipino fan friends, and that's when we started brainstorming. So guys, what are we gonna do? So that when we meet the fans, not just meeting them. So let's make it something that would warm up the concert. So we thought of light sticks. That was the first idea, the light. Since the Corrs, if you remember, during the 2001 concert, Sharon can forget about that because the people lit up the whole Araneta with their phones on Runaway. So we thought of maybe let's do it again and let's make it better. So we thought of the green light stick since that's the color of the tour. So everybody planned to buy the light stick from a certain link on the internet, online shopping, and we just discreetly passed it on to other fans.
Wow.
And then also a few days before the event, we also have lots of ideas aside from the Sea of Green. We called it the Sea of Green, so that if ever we're going to post it on Instagram, the person would not have any idea what the Sea of Green means.
Yeah.
So at least we can pass it on to other fans, like through DMs. What is your green? I want to be a part of it. So we are just going to communicate through DMs on Instagram. And then a few days before the concert, we also have other ideas like maybe let's do a message board for the port. So we thought of like people are gonna write on a board, but I was thinking, how are they going to bring it home? It's too big for them to bring it home. So I remember back then we had this certain book where we put in our messages and our artworks to share. So I thought maybe a book with all the messages, like a guest list, could work. So at least it's something that they can carry home and they can read on flight or something like that. And okay, let's just name it the Book of Dreams. And that's it. And there was another, but it didn't push through because everyone was late.
Oh.
The jamming with bands.
I definitely saw some social media of that happening, and it didn't look as full as I guess I wanted it to be, but there was definitely people and they were jamming and they were fans. So it was cool. It was cool to see.
Yeah, it's just a little bit because some of them managed to bring their tin whistles on the venue and they just randomly played. But we were supposed to have like a full jamming session for an hour, but
wow.
Since because of the restrictions in Araneta that you're only required to buy a certain size of a bag or little stuff, so they only managed to bring tin whistles, and that's why it wasn't really so successful. But to those who were able to bring, at least they were able to play a little.
Yeah.
When we were during the long lines of the Book of Dreams, they were playing. So yes, it was fun actually. And yeah, I think that's all. These are all the activities that we did. And actually, the Sea of Green, I remember, since it wasn't easy to actually tell all the people to get the light sticks. So last minute, we decided to just buy green stickers so that they can put it on their phones, on the lights of their phones. And we told everyone to light it up on Runaway.
Mm-hmm.
There. So at least it's for free, and everyone, we tried that so that everyone could get it. And even Pulp was giving away the sticker. Pulp Live World.
That's great.
Actually, on the first day, there weren't lots of green lights. So on the second day, there were vendors outside of Araneta. And I even talked to them because they were selling different colors of light. So I told them to sell green.
Yeah.
So tell all of the people who are going to the Corrs concert to buy green because we're gonna light it at Runaway. And the next day, on day 2, everyone is selling green lights. And even Pulp is selling light sticks.
Wow. I guess if it's not money that's going to bring that together and make it happen, then it's definitely fan passion. And I think that mixture of the both is great. I mean, from somebody speaking from Europe, what your country has done was incredible, going above and beyond, just setting up these events to make it a little more fun before the gig and to bring that community together in celebration of the gig after, like you say, 21 years. Thank you and well done. Like, congratulations on a successful events lineup. And did I see, my eyes don't mistake me, I saw a cake. Can you explain the cake?
We were discussing about, so what are we going to give them? We thought of the book dreams, and then the admin of the Corrs school thought of, I'm going to give them a cake. So, and then it's so good that Pulp was the one who delivered the cake to them. And we were surprised that, oh my God, they got the cake. And Andrea posted the cake. So it's just so cool. And everybody, I think, Caroline and Sharon, Jim was the one who posted Andrea with the cake. So at least they were able to get the cake.
It's a great.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see. I'll have to pick pictures of the cake in question in the show notes. Sadly, you're not going to be able to take a piece of that cake, but you'll be able to view it and imagine the glory of which it tastes. But yeah, it's basically the band, all of them in fondant. I'm not a cake person really, but hey, there's little edible versions of the Corrs with their instruments, which looked really cute. And yeah, a fan going to that extra effort to try and bring a cake to a gig. Oh, I can't think of anything worse, but I'm so glad that it was so successful. Thank you for sharing. It's really cool. Really, really cool. Tell me about your joy in hearing, obviously, the set list changing with an extra song with Summer Sunshine. What was it like to hear those songs in your home country?
About the set list, since day one, it was the first time that I saw them live. So, but seeing Caroline's silhouette freaked me out. So I was sitting with I don't know, I'm not sure, rich people. And yeah. And they were just watching a film, and when I saw Caroline's silhouette, I just freaked out, and I didn't know what they thought about me. But yes, I love the set list because it started off with Only When I Sleep, which I really want them to start that way because I remember the old gigs that they had. So the feeling was intense at the very beginning. Because, Caroline's introduction of the drums is just so intense. And I'm sure the other hardcore fan friends also freaked out, except for my seatmate on day one. Well, only when they sleep. And then about the Summer Sunshine, actually, I was shocked that they played Summer Sunshine, and it was different, a different version of it, like a slow version at the beginning.
Yeah, it's like a slower intro into it.
Yes, and so I was surprised that they included Summer Sunshine in the set list. It was a good surprise, actually. And regarding Don't Say You Love Me, actually, I was expecting that because from our old fans in Manila, those who attended in 2001, they said that they played Don't Say You Love Me. I think because it's big here in Manila, it's not really, if I'm not mistaken, it's not really a single, but almost everyone I know here knows Don't Say You Love Me, even those who are not fans. So I think that's the reason why they included it. But if there's something that we're kind of missing, that's All the Love in the World. So everybody was expecting All the Love in the World. And then suddenly the concert ends and, okay, we're missing one. Yeah. And then on day 2, I remember Yen was shouting and she said, All the Love in the World. But, I'm not really sure how they do the set list, but it would be better if they included All the Love in the World, especially in Jakarta and in the Philippines, in Indonesia and the Philippines. The excitement continued on the songs midway from radio until So Young, where people started to listen up until everyone started to stand up and dance. The Sea of Green on Runaway was really magical. Breathless has been a part of the Filipino culture, and I love to call it the Philippine National Video Game Anthem. Filipinos are known to love singing in KTV, or we locally call it video gig. And most of us fans and non-fans, young and old, know Breathless. Everybody just danced and partied. That it really felt like the crowd is singing with the band at the KTV. What's cool about my people is they know all the songs. Jim called us to choir, especially the hardcore band singing along with Little Lights. That's how much the Philippines love the Corrs. But overall, the concert is these 2 nights. It is the best night of my life because day 1. It was the first time that I saw them. So I was I'm not watching my DVDs, right?
Yeah.
And just to see Sharon is my favorite. It was just so amazing to see them playing right in front of you. Andrea singing, Caroline drumming, and Shiela. So it was very hard for me to take videos and photos. So I told my friends, maybe you could share your videos and photos to me because it was so surreal. I just want to open my eyes and savor the moment because I've never seen them before. And I was just like stuck at the moment. Okay, every second I was just looking at them and just trying to, to feel the atmosphere, the music in person, because it's just so different when you're already in the club. So that was the first day. But in the second day, that's when I already have more photos and videos on day 2 versus the day 1 where I was just like, I don't know, crazy out of my mind. And but what's good about having your fellow friends with you at the concert is we have like a little headquarters at the Green Gate in Arenado where we tell each other, okay, so after the concert, let's just assemble or meet each other at the gate. So before we go home, we kind of like have a little meeting about what happened to the concert. So we were able to express ourselves to each other because nice. when you go home, you don't really have someone to talk to. Like they may ask, "How are you? How's the concert?" But that's it. But being fans, usually you have lots of little details to share with your fellow fans that other people can't understand. So that's what makes the community special. So every end of the concert, we have a little gathering, we have a little talk, and yeah, it's good. So basically, what makes the experience in the Corrs concert is not just the Corrs, but also the fan community. So it's just the Corrs. It's the most special concert that I've ever gone.
Wow. I wish the listeners could see the smiles on all the faces of everybody I can see in this call at the moment, because that was wonderful to hear your experience of just seeing the band live for the first time with your own eyes. I'm not watching a DVD. They're doing this in front of me. It's live. I'm hearing this. I'm fully emotionally engaged in what I'm being presented with and here, and I love them for it. So amazing. Was there any standout highlights from the 2 nights that you wanted to share?
Actually, there are a lot of wonderful things. Just like hearing Sharon to play for the first time. It's just like you're in a dream. It's just so different when you're in person. It's just so hard to explain, but it's more of like you're feeling it. And yeah, it's kind of like that. When I first heard Sharon play the violin for the intro for Aaron Shore, and also Caroline for Only When I See intro, because that really freaked me out. And I was just shouting Caroline all the time when she started playing the introduction of Only When I Sleep. Jim, when he came in, he just looked so handsome in person than he is in the TV. And Andrea is just so energetic as she's performing. We see it in their gig, but it's just really different when you're there.
Sure.
Like you can feel their energy, you can feel there were some mistakes.
Sure.
But there were some mistakes. But we find it cute. Like, okay, that's fine. That's okay. We are all human, so you make mistakes. So kind of let that slip. It's of course it's our favorite band, and it was okay.
Thank you. That reminds me of one of the quotes from Andrea in the All the Way Home documentary, where she mentions about being on stage and something going wrong or tripping or falling or failing in some regard in front of these thousands of people. But it's all okay because it feels like you're performing in front of family, where they're always there to have your best, to pick you back up. And a mistake isn't a mistake. This is a live thing we're doing together. This is an enjoyment of music and a joy of music and love of music together. So yeah, that reminds me of that. So thank you for sharing. I've got on my master list of the 7 time zones I have here that 2 of you were at the Perth gig, right? So there's Mentari and Patricia. Hi, Patricia. I think this is your turn. This is your moment. And then if you and Mentari can kind of work together in answering maybe near the end of your story, Patricia, and how things went for you, that would be great. But take us from the start of the announcements, how you got tickets, because I know how you got tickets was special for you and your family as well.
Okay, perfect. So when they announced the gig last year, the one night only gig, I was just super sad that I couldn't go. And
Same.
I thought, okay, if they go on tour again, then I have to see them. I can't miss another chance, because I became a fan in 2019, and I thought, okay, I might never see them. Okay, so this
Sure.
is too late, And so I thought, okay, I can't miss another chance. So yeah, and I was thinking about going, and then actually, yeah, it was so such a moment. My family actually phoned me, because they said, okay, Patricia, we know you loved Corrs, and you can book your ticket, like buying a ticket for the concert, and we will pay the flight for you. And it was just so amazing. I mean, it was before Christmas, and it was the most beautiful Christmas I ever had. And yeah, then I started to buy, or I wanted to buy a ticket, but it actually didn't work because my credit card was declined or anything, or not accepted or whatever. And then then Rachel actually was kind enough to offer me her help. Yes, this Rachel. So I'm super grateful. Thank you so much again. And yeah, she helped me purchase a ticket, and yeah, then I got a first row ticket, and yeah, then I posted it on Christmas actually, and it was,
Wow.
yeah, it was one of the most beautiful posts I ever did, and I was so happy, and I still am. So yeah.
Oh, well done, Rachel. That was such a kind thing
thank
for
you.
you to help out. So well done.
I was so happy to help. It was really exciting for me because I knew how excited Patricia was to see them live for the first time. And I would love for anyone who would love to see them. I just want to share that feeling with anybody, because I just know myself how special it is to see them live, to be there, to have the atmosphere around you. There's nothing better, and I couldn't have been more happy to help Patricia achieve those tickets.
Well done. Very, very well done. Okay, Patricia. So you've got this amazing Christmas announcement. You've got tickets to see them live, where you didn't even think you might able to see them live ever. They might not perform, whatever. They might not tour. You've got tickets. Then what? Was it just months and months of planning, countdowns, building excitement?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I was counting down the days. Yeah, definitely. But of course, I had to sort of plan with my university that I can't go to seminars and lectures for this time, but it was all okay. So I was just super excited, packing my stuff, thinking about fan gifts. So yeah, it was a beautiful time beforehand, even. Yeah.
Cool.
And the funny thing is, I don't know, it sounds weird, but I actually dream about the course sometimes. So, and I dreamed about the gig, and I had so many versions of the gig in my dream, and I always wondered, what kind of version I will see. But the actual gig was actually better than any dream I could have. It was so fulfilling and perfect. It was
wow,
wonderful, best night of my life. Yeah, and I don't regret anything. So I would do it again. I would travel to Australia again to see them. So it's wonderful.
Tell me more about that gig. I think I saw some posts on social media where you'd taken pictures of the venue. So I know you'd arrived early, or at least scoped the place out a bit before the day of the gig. Lead us up from touching down, flying all the way from Germany you're from, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, flying all the way from Germany to Perth. Lead us from that touchdown all the way up to finally being in that front row.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. Well, I flew to London first and then directly from London to Perth because I actually didn't want to do a stop in some part of Asia because I prefer direct flights because it was such a long flight anyway and exhausting and yet so worth it. But yeah. And then arriving in Perth was great. I mean, the weather was awesome, 30 degrees in comparison to cold Germany here.
Yeah.
So yeah, wonderful. It was wonderful to be in the heat again for at least 1 week. So yeah. And yeah, then I always said to my family, okay, I have to look for the venue. I want to see where the venue is. So we have to go there. We have to, plan for a day to go there because I want to see where it is. And yeah, then a few days before that, I can't remember, maybe 3 or 4 days before the gig, we went to the venue and I was just super excited. Yeah, I was a bit sad I didn't see any kind of ads hanging around the city, but yeah.
Yeah, from your social media posts and what I'd seen from other fans going to the Perth gig and kind of heard on the grapevine, there didn't seem to be much compared to, I mean, we were entirely spoiled from seeing what we'd seen advertising wise and banner wise and skyscraper picture wise with Indonesia and Philippines. So I think we were expecting just as much for this new, at least for the first gig in Australia, for Perth gig, but there seemed to be less. There was definitely banners, there was the occasional poster, but nothing like the wild advertising that Indonesia and the Philippines had presented us with on the tour so far. So yeah, I get where you're coming from with that, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you able to meet fans? Did you able to touch base with Mentari before the gig?
No, just on this day, but not before
Okay.
the gig. We met, I think outside. No, inside. I was buying merch, and then Mentari and I met, and she waited for me because I bought so much merch. So yeah, she waited for me, and then then we went outside quite often.
Okay. Tell us what it was like to see and hear the beginning of Only When I Sleep as a new fan. You've watched all your DVDs, you've seen plenty of videos, you've heard lots of bootleg audio, I'm sure, of different concerts through the years. And you've heard the CD many times, and the tape and vinyl, and et cetera, et cetera. What was it like to finally hear Only When I Sleep sung live by your favorite group in front of you?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was a dream. I mean, yeah, like you said, I mean, I often watch DVDs and I still do, but it's just nothing like seeing them live. So being in this venue with so many other fans who are so passionate about them just as much as I am. And yeah, it was amazing. And then this beautiful intro, and then just Caroline smashing it on her drums was, beautiful. And I just cried when they came on stage and actually during the gig and when they left because I couldn't believe my luck. Yeah, it was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very lucky thing. I'm sure that there's plenty of other fans of other bands later in their careers that don't get the opportunity to see them perform live, let alone as a full band and things like that. So yeah, I think we've lucked out with the Corrs.
And it was my first gig ever, so I had no idea what it feels like to be in a venue, to be at a live concert, and then it was the Corrs gig, and it was perfect. So it was perfect in so many ways. Yeah.
First ever gig, first ever time seeing them live. Yeah, there's a lot of firsts there. And
Yeah.
And it was better than you dreamed?
Oh, yeah, so much better. I mean, beyond my expectation. I can't find words for how grateful I am and how happy I am to be that I have been able to see them.
Do you have any highlight moments or highlight songs from the gig? I know obviously it was all brilliant and you want to relive it as many times, but is there any particular highlights or particular moments that you remember thinking back and feeling a certain way? Or
I think one of my highlights was Don't Say You Love Me as well, because I've always loved the song and I miss it on their set list, whenever I watch DVDs or concerts on YouTube, and I was just so happy it's on the set list again. And yeah, it was definitely the highlights. I would have loved All the Love in the World too, but we didn't get that, but it's okay. Yeah, I think Don't Say You Love Me was, and Summer Sunshine. Yeah, I think these two were my highlights. But every minute was perfect anyway, so yeah, it's hard to choose, hard to pick a highlight. Yeah.
So you've gone through the gig, it's your first live gig, you're blown away, you're chanting for the encore, I'm sure, you're loving Toss the Feathers that they're finishing with. What happened next?
I left my seat, basically. I went outside. Oh no, I actually waited on stage to get a set list. So I did that. And then I went outside, yeah. And I think I was texting Mentari if she's still there. But we didn't get to see us after the gig because I had to go to the cloaking section to collect all my stuff. And yeah. And then my family waited outside and they saw me coming up with all merchandise and all bags and the set list. And they were just so happy for me because they knew I had a brilliant time. So yeah, it was...
It's so cool that you went with your family, but obviously they didn't go in with you, but you saw the gig on your own, but you still felt like you were in a place where you were surrounded by fans and a different kind of family and a different kind of environment where we were all thinking and feeling the same thing. So that's really cool. That's
really
cool.
I mean, I was chatting, to the fans sitting next to me, behind me, and they were all so lovely. And it was just so amazing to meet fans in person at last, and not just texting online. And so it's just amazing. Yeah.
We're a rare breed. There's lots of us, but we're a rare breed. We seem to be few and far between. We've spaced out equally in the world. So there's a lot of distance between us, sadly, which things like podcasts can help, I guess, maybe
True,
in a little way. Now, a little birdie tells me that something very special happened before the gig. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell us how that went down, and then maybe Mentari can chip in as well on what this special experience was like. I'm sure listeners would love to hear every moment of this. Please share.
Okay. So I actually texted Caroline 1 or 2 days before the gig if she would have time to pick my fan gifts up from the information desk in the venue. And she didn't answer my questions. She didn't respond to that, which was okay. She just asked me where I've flown from when I said Germany, and then was it on stay. So she texted me on the 25th in the morning. I was eating my breakfast in the hotel. It was so crazy. And I got her message asking if I would like to meet them at their meet and greet beforehand.
Wow.
And if I'm with anyone, and if I know anyone who's here as well, and who've flown quite a long way to see them in Perth as well. So it's crazy. I wrote her that, okay, I know Mentari is here as well, and she's from Indonesia. And then Caroline just wrote, okay, I'll try and put you on the guest list. And it was amazing, yeah. And I couldn't eat my breakfast anymore because I was so nervous. I was so many emotions on the day. It was crazy, like emotional roller coaster. Caroline wrote to me, okay, meet and greet is at 8:50 or 9 p.m. and we can collect our meet and greet passes from the box office. And yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it was incredible. And then she said, see you later. And I was like, oh, I can see you later. And then, oh yeah, it was amazing.
I'm loving hearing all these stories, Patricia. It's so exciting.
Thank you.
I can just see the excitement of when you speak about it. It's so nice.
Yeah, the reality of it all kind of comes across in the smiles and in the tone of voice, doesn't it? It's lovely to hear.
It's really great.
What happened next? Please tell us.
Okay, so well, I told my family, of course, because they saw that I'm kind of different and nervous. So they wondered actually why I didn't eat anymore. So yeah, and they were just so happy and they couldn't believe it. So yeah, then I went with my family to the venue. So I walked to the venue on this day and getting more and more nervous, of course. And then they all hugged me and wished me fun. And yeah, then I just went inside. Yeah. Then I met Mentari, and yeah, it took quite a while to get our passes. I think 3 or 4 times we had to check at the box office because our passes weren't there. So yeah, but it was fun. I mean, even the security on the exit of the venue, he knew the course, and so we talked a bit with him on our way getting out. So yeah, and then we got our passes and actually have it here. So we got some sort of envelope and
cool.
Yeah, just this cool thing, which is one of the most beautiful things I have in my collection. So it's wonderful.
Very unique. Very unique.
Yes, it is. Yeah. And then we got some sort of short note saying that please meet at the door left-hand side of stage at 8:50 p.m. Many thanks. So, and then, yeah, Mentari and I just tried to find the door and just tried to get in, which was not easy because there was a lot of security. And they had to actually call some people because we had the wrong pass, or they said we have the wrong pass, so we couldn't get in. Yeah, but maybe Mentari knows more about it.
Mentari, give us more insight on what this moment was like of not having the right passes, checking 4 times, getting them but not getting the right ones. What's Patricia like at this moment? Is she beside herself with joy and fear of maybe missing this out?
Oh, we all were. Both of us were. So yeah, we had to go back and forth to the box office 3 or 4 times because every time we went there, they always say that our passes weren't there yet. So we just went back and forth, and finally, after 3 or 4 times, they asked to verify our identities, and they asked us to show our passports. And so they gave us the envelopes, and so we agreed to meet near the meeting point as written in the envelope, around near the end of Natalie Imbruglia's set. And once there was this security guard who said that he couldn't let us in because we needed an escort, and that we needed an escort to get to backstage. And the thing is that so if we needed an escort, then where was the escort? We didn't hear more. We didn't hear anything more about it. He didn't tell us anything more. So it was quite frustrating. We were getting so nervous. So but then finally we saw someone else who was working for the venue, and we told her that we'd been invited to meet the band, and we'd been instructed to go there and to wait for someone to escort us. And finally, the person talked to someone else in security, and a few minutes later, they sent us someone to escort us.
Wow. It all worked out in the end. This is good. So there you are. You're being escorted. You're both walking down some backstage corridor. You can hear the band playing in the background. You can hear the cheers of the crowd. You can hear the hubbub of a live gig event. Were you just ushered through a door and then they were just there waiting? Patricia, take up from Mentari, please. What happened next?
Okay, I think it took like 10 minutes to get in, or 10 to 15 minutes till we were in the room actually. And know that they weren't there yet, so they came later. We had to wait there and sit, and there were other people as well, like I don't know, football players, or I think Irish football players, or I don't know, I didn't know them. So yeah, and then they came in, actually Caroline was the first who came in. So I saw her in her glitter top and it was beautiful. Yeah, they all came in and they waited there. So when the football players met them first. But all of them actually smiled at Mentari and me, and I think they were quite excited to meet fans as well. So, and then we stood up and walked towards them. So, yeah. And I couldn't say much because I was so nervous, which is a pity. But yeah, it's just what it was. So, yeah.
Did you say much at all, or was it just like a shaking hands, thank you, and have a great show? Or
we were shaking hands. Well, actually, Jim and Sharon asked a few questions like where I'm from, for how long I'm staying in Australia, and then they thanked me for making the effort to fly to Australia to see them, and that they appreciate it. And yeah, then we asked for a picture. Yeah. And then a woman took pictures, and it was quite funny because actually they had to leave because we were quite late in. We were later in because we had all this issue going on beforehand. And then I remember Caroline said, "No, wait, hang on, a picture with Patricia." And yeah, so we took a picture. And yeah, they went off, and I just wished them fun and said enjoy your show, and they hoped they won't disappoint us, but they can't disappoint us. It's impossible. How can they ever disappoint? No way.
I think I saw some of the pictures you shared on social media that were taken of you backstage with them, which was great. And did I see right that Jim was laughing in one of them because of a specific reason?
Yes, actually, Sharon and Jim. So Jim loved my shoes, my decor shoes. So he saw my shoes. I have no idea how he saw my shoes, but he did. So yeah, he pointed on my shoes and said, "Oh, we're even on your shoes." And then they all started laughing. And Sharon saw my phone case, which is kind of this thing here from Unplugged, like one of my phone cases. And she said, "Oh my God, we're on your phone case. Like, we're so young. We're looking so young on your phone case." And then they just all started laughing. Yeah. Amazing.
What a great moment. I guess, yeah, if somebody's got you on their shoes, it's going to be an odd thing to see, but fun all the same. Mentari, what was your experience like of that moment? I'm sure similar in a lot of ways, but obviously you'd met them prior at the gig last year. What was this experience like? Was it less formal, more time? Tell us how it went for you.
Yeah, it was much less formal. The previous year, I didn't really get to say much because of time constraints at all.
Sure.
But this time around, I was shaking so bad. And Andrea actually hugged me because she saw how badly I was shaking. But I managed to say plenty of things to them. So I thank them for coming to Jakarta and after so many years. And Sharon told me that she was really impressed by the crowd and the noise that we made in Jakarta. And then I also told them how much their music means to me and how they kept me going in some of the worst periods of my life, which they seem to appreciate. And I took a group picture with all the band, and then I asked Andrea to sign my copy of Barefoot Pilgrimage.
Beautiful.
Which was lovely. Yeah, she asked me to spell my name. So when I did, she was like, "Oh, I know your name from Instagram." Well, that I didn't expect at all.
That's very cute.
Yeah, and I asked her to sign it, and she wrote a whole note on the front page of the book.
Nice. What did she write, if you don't mind sharing?
Let me get the book. It's over here. Right. So she wrote, "Dear Mentari, thank you beyond words for your love for the course and support. Love, Andrea."
Wow. Very, very nice.
Yeah. As well as the group picture, I asked for a selfie with Caroline and Andrea. And when I took my selfie with Andrea, my hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold my phone. So I asked her to hold my phone for me.
Cute.
Which she agreed to, it was very kind of her.
That's brilliant. It's so lovely to hear that not only that the Corrs have helped you in times that haven't been so great, but that you were gifted the time to be able to tell them that. And then through her statement that she's written in your book, that's been reflected back to you, where they've thanked you for your fandom and your passion towards their music and stuff. So it's come full circle again. That's really lovely to hear. Anything else you want to add from that experience, Patricia?
I think the meet and greet was about 7 or 8 minutes. I mean, Mentari, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was not long, or not longer than that, actually. I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a lot less formal than the meet and greet that you paid for Mentari last year with the photo and stuff, and a lot more personal. So hopefully there'll be more of that to come in the future, giving the fans time to be able to, I guess, reflect back to them what their music has meant and how it's helped all of us in different degrees in different parts of our lives, and how much joy it brings us on a daily basis. They need to hear that. Give us the space to do it. Come on, they need to hear that. Just give us the space to do it, and we'll do it one by one in a big long line.
Yeah, I couldn't say that to them because I was so nervous, but I said to them, I wrote a fan letter because I can't speak now, and I hope they read my letter. So yeah, I wrote all of it in there to what it means to me. But I was so nervous I couldn't say anything. So yeah.
Shiela, I know that with the Book of Dreams, you also had messages from other people on social media asking you to fill out pages for them. Is that correct? So that they could then have something that would then be handed to the band from them. Is that what happened?
Yes. Actually, we just asked the concert goers first to write on the Book of Dreams, and before we give it to Paul, it was our turn to write. We kind of like we closed the line for the public, and then after that was our turn to write. But basically most of the messages were written by me on behalf of them as well, but they also wrote their messages on them.
Cool. That's really cool to hear. I just, it brought that back to my mind because it's fans sharing their love of the band and their thankfulness, and those that didn't get the fortunate opportunity to meet them in person were able to do that via your fan effort. So yeah, well done again. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing, Patricia. It was lovely to hear your story of everything that went on. And I guess I'm certainly not the only fan that congratulates you on having not only an amazing first gig, but also an amazing first Corrs gig, and to also meet the band as well. Like, dreams definitely do come true, and I guess we can tell from what you've conveyed to us that you're not taking that for granted, and it's a moment that you are going to be treasuring for many, many years.
That's true, yeah, and so many fans. I mean, my inbox exploded, the day after I posted the pictures, with even fans who wrote that they celebrated for me because I got to meet them. It was just so overwhelming. It's love towards me, a stranger, just fan online. It's amazing, and I'm just so happy to be a part of this fan base. Yeah,
we're happy to have you, and I'm honored to have you on CorrsCast. So thank you. I guess the next gig we can definitely focus on is Brisbane. And who might have attended Brisbane out of the people we have here on the show? I've got on my notes here that is more than likely Rachel and Wendy. Am I right?
You are correct.
You're right. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Again, thank you so much for staying up so late. I know that it's not particularly early in the evening. It's kind of early in the morning now where you are, but thank you again. I guess I'd love to go through the same set of scenarios and circumstances, but for the Brisbane gig.
Well, can I talk a bit about this one, because Rachel went to quite a few other gigs that that I didn't go to. So, and this is my home state.
I think that both sounds unfair and fair at the same time. How dare you go to so many, Rachel? But yeah, please do, Wendy. I think the other people that have spoken so far, the other fans, have definitely taken ownership. Shiela and Mentari are of their home countries in those gigs, and rightfully so. Wendy, sell us Brisbane. What happened? Tell us from day one.
Well, let's go back to when they announced it, and it wasn't actually in Brisbane. It was in Sandstone Point Hotel, which was about an hour drive north of Brisbane. And so when they first announced it, I had a bit of a rant because sometimes Brisbane gets forgotten. And I remember thinking, oh, Brisbane always gets left out. Like first world problems here. But the venue itself I'd not been to before, and it was really beautiful. It was a little bit like Hunter Valley last year in that it was outdoors. It was under the stars, but this was different because it was by the sea. It wasn't as big of a sort of field as Hunter Valley was. But yeah, the stage backed onto the sea, and there were like trees around with fairy lights, and it was a really warm day. And then as it cooled down, it got really windy and cold. And so when Natalie Imbruglia was on, she was like, I feel like I'm in a Beyonce video because her hair was flying everywhere. And then when the Corrs came on, again, because like Andrea has like hair extensions in this tour, and Sharon has long hair, and their hair was like flying all over the place. It was quite funny. And they were trying to like angle their head so that their hair was like in the right direction according to the wind.
Sure.
And again, like Mentari said, they started it with the same beginning that they did on, say, the Lansdowne Road concert. And so that was pretty like spine tingling to see that. And I just want to thank Rachel because she booked our tickets for us, and she might be able to talk about this in detail further, but she booked the tickets and got second row seats.
Brilliant.
And that was pretty special because when I was in Hunter Valley, I was in like the D section or something. So I was like way, way, way back. And Rachel's also very like opportunistic. And so at one point in the gig, there were maybe like 3 older people in the front row that clearly like had had enough of the cold and the wind. And so they left, and Rachel was like, quick, let's get the seats. Like we'll leave them if they come back, but we'll just mind them. And they never came back. So we ended up sitting front row.
Wow.
Towards the center. Four acts are all wonderful. But when the Corrs come on, there's just something really special and magical. And I like to say that they must be 10% fairy. If they did a DNA test, there's got to be something supernatural in there because they just have something so magical. Yeah, and then it was like basically a full moon, I think. So at one point on the big screen, they had the moon like projected on there. And Sharon commented on it being windy at one point, and so she's like, well, it's a bit windy up here. Understatement. And during No Frontiers, I think it was where her violin was hanging on the stand, and it was like the violin was waving back and forth in the wind, and I could see her like grab it because she was a bit worried about it. It was really special being that close for me this time, and again, being in my home state and under this big full moon by the sea. It was a great adventure.
Sounds really, really cool. And equally different enough for it to be a new experience from seeing them again last year, as we heard so well on the last special episode we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
What were the major differences, I would say, musically between the 2 gigs for you?
I did miss hearing Bring on the Night. In Hunter Valley, Bring on the Night has such a wonderful bridge section. And so because they didn't play that this time, I did miss it, but so many of the songs was just so wonderful anyway. So, I was okay, but it would have been great to hear that again. It is different musically to sit so much closer to the stage. When you're further back, I try and take care of my ears because I'm a musician too. And so I was like, oh, should I have my earplugs in or not? And I still can't remember if I think I did take them out for the show in the end. But, I was a bit worried about like being so close to the speakers. But it was funny because at one of the Melbourne gigs, one of the security guards said they didn't wear headphones because the Corrs gigs aren't as loud as like other gigs.
Wow.
Yeah. I think they were probably tighter in this gig than in Hunter Valley last year. I think there were a few bits last year where it was maybe a little shaky.
Yeah, a little loose. I think that's what we discussed, right? We discussed that there was definitely mistakes. I don't think they had as much rehearsal time as they had obviously for this whole tour rather than a single gig. So I think that's to be expected. Yeah.
And there was still mistakes. Like Andrea often gets lost in dancing around and having fun, and then she'll forget that she's got a plate and whistle. But that's part of the fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Excellent.
And they all look so confident, and they just look like they're having the best time. And someone said to me, "Oh, Andrea, she's like almost 50, isn't she? Like, isn't she almost too old to be doing that?" I'm like, you should see her jumping around, spinning around on stage. Like, I would love to have her fitness level. She's amazing.
Totally. Rachel, so this was the beginning of fair amount of gigs for this tour for you.
It was this very start. So it was super exciting.
Super exciting.
I was also so excited to see Wendy again because after last year we met last year at the Sydney meet and greet and Hunter Valley. And it's been basically a year of chatting between us and others as well. So it's to be together again for another Corrs concert. That was super exciting, and just to have someone to share it with. And we had a lot of fun, and being outside again, it was a fantastic venue. And as Wendy perfectly put it on the night, she said it's Hope Estate by the Sea, and it was spot on. It was exactly, it summed it up perfectly. So it was a beautiful spot, and we got there in the afternoon, and we're there until after dark when it sort of started, and it was just a beautiful atmosphere with the fairy lights, and the wind was really windy, but it was actually pretty fun because it was kind of wild, and it actually felt like, this is so exciting, and it felt real, like it wasn't just in a perfect venue where everything was, perfection. It was, as Wendy said, violins shaking on the stands and hair flying everywhere, and Andrea trying to play tin whistle with hair in her face. And it was just a really good reminder that, we were there live, and it was in the moment, and it was fun, and it was great.
And it had been basically a year since you'd last seen them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's really exciting.
Yeah, you made reference to our group chat since the last recording. Yeah, it's been a good year of chatting in that group chat. It's been very cool. It's been great to get to know you better, everyone that's in there, including Francisco and Wendy and Rachel. It's been a cool little click, as we call it, to be able to enthuse about the band with a group of people that now hundreds of people have listened to on the original special episode we did for the last Hunter Valley gig. So very, very cool, and thank you for all of your input into that group chat. I enjoy it almost daily, so it's been good.
In Coffee City, we borrowed heaven. Don't give it back. I've never felt so wild. Are you taking me home? Tell me in the heat of sunshine, I miss you like nobody else in the heat of sunshine. I kiss you. Nobody needs to know. You've left me, there's no return, babe. I keep comparing, you're always in it. I try to be so, but you'll never be my one. Will you take me at home? Don't tell me you have to go. In the heat of summer sunshine, I miss you. Nobody else in the heat of summer sunshine, I kiss you. Nobody needs to know. Summer sunshine, I miss you. Nobody else in the heat of summer sunshine, I kiss you.
I've got on my list here, the next one that any of you went to would have been, is it Rachel on your own? You went to Newcastle, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. I went to Newcastle. I hadn't booked that one actually. So when they announced the tour, basically, I guess I've been a fan for a long time. So the last time I saw them in Melbourne was 2001. And I always promised myself if they ever came back, I would try and see as many shows as I possibly could. That was just a dream that I always had.
Yeah.
And I was going to do my best to make it happen. So I've got my own business and I've got two small kids. So it's, I couldn't commit to everything, but I tried my hardest to get to everything. Newcastle wasn't something I was planning, and it was actually the morning of that I decided, yeah, I'm going to go. So it, it was a spare of the moment opportunity when another fan offered me a ticket, and it was way too good to pass up the opportunity. It was also a front row seat, and so it was no question that I wanted to be there. And it was about 10:30 in the morning. I decided, yep, I'm going. And flight was about 1:30. So I still had my bag packed from Brisbane, and I was like, yep, off I go. So as soon as I got there, I thought, yeah, of course I've made the right decision. There's no question about it. And it was lovely to spend time with Jess. We had a great time. She had a friend Cheryl there from Malaysia, and we had a ball. So very excited, amazing spot. And again, just to be there in that environment with everyone being so happy. And it was just, yeah, it was great.
I'm really glad you were able to catch up with Jess. She's a wonderful human being. And hi, Jess. I know you'll be listening to this episode, and thank you for your encouragement and everything you've done to support the show in the last couple of years. I don't think it would be quite the same without you. So thank you again. And I can't wait to meet you in person, hopefully at a tour soon. Is there any sort of standout moments that you can recall from Newcastle that are worth mentioning?
I can't think of any particular standout moments just from Newcastle, because it's all been fantastic for me. Like people ask me to differentiate between the different concerts, and I really struggle to find differences that are special, but to me, it's all been fantastic. And I've just been really loving, like the radio intro has been awesome. Don't Say You Love Me, of course, has been really good. Just everything's been great, but each concert's been subtly different, but all equally amazing.
And are you entirely happy with the set list?
Yeah, I would always be happy with anything. Yeah, I just felt lucky to be there, so I didn't mind what they play.
Nice. I think that's the perfect attitude. And I think you did yourself proud with the amount of gigs that you did attend. Just confirm for the listeners, how many gigs were you able to attend in Australia?
Yeah, I was very, very lucky to be able to see them 6 times in Australia.
Incredible. You've done yourself proud.
It's just been a dream of mine since I was, a child. So it's something that I felt that I had to carry out my dreams, and it lived up to every expectation.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. And I'm sure little you would be very thankful that you've made the effort. So that's
great. It was great.
Yeah, excellent. Just on the side, what do your girls think about you seeing this band so much and going to these gigs?
They were excited because they knew it makes me so happy, and they love the music themselves, and they know it, and they love the Corrs too. So I think it's just, they've heard the music since before they were born, so it's just been part of what they've grown up with too. But it's very cute. So we went on a boat trip in Melbourne. Some of the fans that I've been hanging out with, Francisco and Christine, we all went on a boat ride. And so my 2-year-old, we're going down the river, and we passed by the venue where they played in Melbourne. Mm-hmm. And my 2-year-old's yelling out, "Hello, Corrs, hello, Corrs," because she knew that's where they were playing. So it's super cute. And even today, driving past, she's saying, "Hello, Corrs." So she knows. It's very sweet. Even my daughter was asked today, she has this special share time she does for school. And today was share your favorite song. And I didn't talk to her about it beforehand, but she told me after school, and she said she selected, she said, my favorite song was Little Lies by the Corrs.
Wow.
And someone asked her, they said, why do you like that song? Why did you choose that? And she said, because it reminds me of my mum, and it makes my mum so happy. And I thought that was super cute.
I think there's a lot of very lasting generational love for this band. So yeah, I'm glad you're carrying on that tradition, which is lovely. Sweet. Very, very. I guess we should bring in another voice we have yet to hear from, which is Francisco, because have I got it correct that Adelaide, Rachel and Francisco, you were able to meet up after a year apart at the last gig. Francisco, tell us what happened and what was it like meeting Rachel again after a year and the build up to the Adelaide gig?
Well, definitely that was a great moment. By the time that she told me, "Hey, I'm already over here," I just went down from my room, She was there. There was a big hug. There was definitely a great moment. So much happiness around. And well, just something that really magic. I have to tell you that probably one of the things that the course have gave me is my friend from Australia. I love him so much. I love you so much, Wendy. I know you're gonna talk because right now we're talking about you, and also Rachel and a couple of friends, Greg, which is also a wonderful guy that we have been just going around. But it was so cool. Let me share with you something that happens at Adelaide, something totally unexpected.
Please do.
One of the things that Corrs have given me is that, I mean, they are my travel agency, because wherever they go, I go. So I try to do my best. But last year, when they announced their only one night to Australia, I said, come on, guys, can you get a little closer? I mean, it's far away. It's going to be a big effort, but we were there. At the beginning of on December, I remember I told Rachel, okay, Rachel, let's get the tickets, even though I'm not sure if I'm going. I mean, it's a big effort. It's a long distance. There's so many things, but at least let's have the option. So to have the option, we need to have the ticket. So we got the tickets. And I was just hanging around at Adelaide the day prior to the concert. And then I really like to walk. I usually walk the cities. I think it's the best way to get in touch.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw a girl dressing a dress like Sharon's dress. And I said, hey, look, that looks like a Sharon dress. Then I saw her hair and I said, hey, the kind of Sharon's hair. So I just went to the crossing point. Then I turned right and there was Sharon there. It's like, oh. I was like, what? There was Sharon and also Andrea. I told them, hey girls, I'm a huge fan. Then she told me, oh yeah, of course. What's your name again? I said, Francisco. Yeah. I'm so glad you're here. I remember you from Spain. I went last June to Sharon's concerts at Madrid. And I told them, hey, I don't want to be unrespectful at all. I know you are having your journey. I just get a selfie and I just like run away, like just to leave them in their own space, since they were having just, I believe, a special moment with each other. So it was so totally unexpected. So it was so cool. And then I met Rachel at the hotel after that. I sent you the picture of that day. It was insane.
It was very cool. I couldn't believe it. I was there. I was looking at the group chat, and then this picture of Sharon came up. I'm like, how on earth has he done that? How has he lucked out and made that work again? So your eyes did not deceive you, and I think that's paid off well. So it's really nice, and it was lovely to hear, as you've just reflected, how you were so sensitive towards their time, and just to, you don't want to hound them for autographs and pictures and et cetera. Their time is their own, and you've got what I believe was 3 gigs to go to in Australia now. 4 with the cup. 4 gigs to go to in Australia. So you're going to have plenty of time seeing Sharon perform anyway. So yeah, it's nice you just left them to it, and as you said, ran away. You've got 4 gigs to go to, all of them with Rachel, correct?
All of them with Rachel. One of the things that I can tell you is that my expectation was just to be at the concerts, no more than that. We received so much. I used to I told Rachel, hey, Rachel, don't worry. Universe will provide. I mean, universe will take care of everything. And believe me, what we received this time, I mean, it was just magic. I mean, it was, to be honest, it was too much. I mean, like so much energy. And one of the things that I really like about being in so many concerts is that usually after the last concert, usually you feel kind of nostalgic. You feel kind of sad. You say, we don't know when's going to be the next concert. So when you have all of them like in a row, you really enjoy them because you say, hey, don't worry, there's going to be another one.
We're going to do this again. Yeah.
We're going to do this again like tomorrow, like the day after tomorrow. So that really worked.
So you've got Adelaide. You've got then Tasmania,
Launceston.
And then you have Melbourne, but there's 2 different in Melbourne. One's at races. Okay. Rachel, did you want to go through what it was like organizing to try and get to each of these gigs with other fans as well?
I kind of just made my own plans, really, and we just met at each place because we didn't sort of plan to do it. We didn't travel together as such. We just met as soon as we got there. So that wasn't sort of as a planned thing as such. I flew between the different cities just because of my time, and the distances in Australia are far. So it's not possible to do anything else really. I did drive from Melbourne to Adelaide for the Adelaide concert just because I took my husband and my girls for that trip. But the others we just flew between, and met Francisco when we got there, and Christine as well. She came on for all the Melbourne and Launceston concerts. She was our friend from California. Yeah, she's amazing too.
Hey, Christine.
And we just had so much fun together. Just the Corrs fans that I've met over the years, there's just something special about these people. I can't put it into words, but it's just, we just find this common ground, and we just have the best time, and it's always positive and fun and exciting, and it's just, there's something really special about it. So for me, I think the highlight for me of this whole time with the tour has just been sharing it with others, and it's really made it special and made it what it's been. So it was just really exciting to share it, and to be able to do it together as fans together.
Yeah, it just adds fuel to everything you already feel. I find when you're there at a gig, you meet somebody for the first time just in a queue, or they're sat near you, and then suddenly you're talking. It's like you know each other because you have exactly the same love. It's like a family member you hadn't seen for ages, and you're like, oh, hi, and then you just click straight away. You just love the same stuff, and you're there for the same purpose. So it's great to hear. Really great to hear.
We were feeding off each other's enthusiasm, so it was fun.
It's very cool. Yeah, for the little clips and stuff you were sharing on the group chat and social media and stuff, it was great to see you all having so much fun. Sadly, without me, I was unable to attend on this tour. Definitely more in the future, but
you'll be there for sure next time.
Yes,
you'll be there for sure next time.
Yes, definitely.
We can't wait.
That. And which of the gigs, Wendy, were you able to attend with both Francisco and Rachel?
With the two of them, the 2 gigs in Melbourne.
Is there any highlights specifically from Adelaide or Tasmania?
I have to tell you, well, there was so much magic at Tasmania with Rachel. Everything began, we were just hanging around the city. We got to some very nice spots at Tasmania. But then we just get into a restaurant. Believe it or not, we were so excited because they were playing the Corrs. Okay. One of them, I think like giving a reason or something. But then they keep playing just the Corrs, like for 1 hour and a half.
Wow.
That was like insane. Like we were saying, we were just about to leave, and then Breathless started, and we said, I told Christine and Rachel, hey, we can live with Breathless. So we just go all back to our seats and keep listening to the song. And then I told them, okay, let's go. Otherwise, we're going to stay here forever. So the most important thing that happens at Tassie, I love the way that Ozzy says Tassie, it's that I bought some flowers for them. You know, I'm the flowers guy. The last time I gave flowers to them. So I got flowers for one of the things. Oh, I forgot a really important thing that happens in Adelaide and also happens in Tassie. It's that I said guapa to Sharon. Guapa means beautiful lady in Spanish. And by the time that I said guapa, she answered guapo. And she also said Francisco, my name, all aloud. It was like almost dying. So I gave the flowers to her. Like I just put them like right in front of the stage. But at the end, at the really end of the concert, just before they start singing "Runaway," I just throw the flowers to the scenario, and also for Caroline. And by the time that she came back, Andrea saw the flowers, like really surprised. There's a video of that. I love that video. She saw the flowers. She took the flowers. Then Runaway started playing by Sharon. And then she started dancing, like rolling with the flowers, three twins. It was such a delightful moment. Definitely my top favorite of the Corrs all ever. And yeah, that happens at Tassie. And well, it was just so magical at that point.
To have that fan interaction, even at the front of a stage of thousands and thousands of people, is tricky. So I'm really glad you got those few moments, and well done on being the flower guy again. That's good.
And there is one last thing that happened, and we repeat it at Melbourne twice. So for that venue, I got one speaker. Believe it or not, it passed security. So at the end of the concert, when everybody is okay, it's already done. So we used to put the speaker really loud with the Corrs music. So everybody goes around with us, walking by the street on the way out. So we were singing Breathless, we were singing Runaway, we were singing All the Love in the World. I mean, there's videos of that. So everybody's like having a party after the concert. And it was just such a great, I mean, the speaker idea, believe me, is the most wonderful thing. I will do that in every concert I go from now. So that really works.
That's really cool. It's a good way of amassing a crowd for a sing-along. That's the best way of starting it, right? Yeah. Right. Oh, that's great. Okay, shall we move on to the Melbourne gigs? Wendy, please give us your take on how you met the others and what it was like to finally be with the others from the group chat in person and attending yet another Corrs gig together.
So I flew to Melbourne from Brisbane on the Monday afternoon, and Rachel and Francisco were already at the Rod Laver Arena. And so I went and met them there. Rachel originally booked the tickets, and so Rachel was in the front row with her daughter, and Francisco and I were in the second row. And I got there, and they had these kind of spooked looks on their faces, and they said, "We're going to meet the Corrs tonight."
What?
And I went, "What?" What? And the funny thing is that I'm normally quite a anxious person, but that particular day, like, it was the end of a big work project for me the day before, and it was the first day I felt I could sort of relax, and like I blow dried my hair, which also makes me feel a bit more relaxed. And so I was just going with the flow at this point. And they were like, "Yeah, we'll tell you outside." So I will let Rachel tell you how she was invited backstage, but so we were all, we missed half the support acts because we were outside the main concert venue, sort of working out our strategies and doing everything we needed to do before meeting side of stage.
Rachel, tell us how you scored this meet and greet, how you were able to announce to Wendy, who'd just flown in, that you were going to meet the Corrs tonight. Tell us that, and then we'll go back to Wendy for the details from there on.
Okay, so it was very exciting. Just a message came through on my Instagram, and it was a message from Jim, and he said, "I'm trying to get you into the meet and greet tonight." And so it was, I was shocked to see that message and just very excited. And I wasn't sure exactly how it had come about that he'd sent me this message. But I had written a comment on his post. He did post a photo at the Melbourne venue, and it was just, when he'd arrived, it was empty stadium, and it said, "Calm before the storm." And so I just wrote a little sentence that said, "It's been a dream come true to see you, a few times this week, but tonight's going to be extra special because it's my city, and so excited to have you back in my city, and just wish you all the best." And it possibly could have been that. So
yeah, maybe.
I'm going to take that's what it was. Anyway, because, as I said before, it's just spending this time with Francisco and Wendy and Christine also. We'd basically spent the whole week together doing, the concerts, but also just having the best time, going for lunch, drinks after, just spending the whole time together, being together. So when I got this message from Jim, I thought, I'm going to really push my luck, but I'm going to ask if my friends can come too, because if I had have just gone by myself without Wendy, without Francisco, and without Christine, it wouldn't be the same, and I would have felt bad, and it just... I needed them to be with me because we were in it together.
Yeah.
So I wrote back and I said, "I know I'm really pushing my luck, but I would love for these guys to join me because they love you guys as much as I do, and this would mean the world to them." And so he wrote back and he said, "Sure." So that was pretty cool. So it was for me being able to tell them individually, like, guess what? guess what we're going to do and tell them that we're going to meet our favorite band. That was, for me, that felt really exciting because it was just as exciting for me as I knew that it would be for them. So I really enjoyed that moment of being able to share that we were going to have this amazing opportunity to say hi and thank them personally. So that was really cool for me.
Thanks for sharing, Rachel. It's yeah, what are the chances? That's so cool. So cool. Well done. Wendy, we have the inside information. Let's pick back up where you left off.
Yeah, so we went side of stage, I think it was about 8:50, and they were meant to play at 9:30. And so we were waiting by the side when Natalie Imbruglia was playing. And the funny thing is that there's a famous Australian comedian and actress called Magda Szubanski. And she just sort of walked past us, and I was like filming Natalie Imbruglia while Magda Szubanski kind of walked underneath my phone. And then Christine from LA, I think she didn't know who Magna was, and then we told her, and then she was like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were someone famous." Anyway, so we're waiting at the side for, it felt like quite a while, and Rachel was really nervous. I was kind of sort of surprised because Rachel's met them a few times before, but for some reason this particular night, yeah, Rachel was definitely like, oh my gosh. And for some reason I was just like, I think on some level I was expecting it.
Wow.
Like I wasn't surprised that I wasn't surprised. I was like, I know, I just, you just never know. So and I was like writing notes in my phone of what I wanted to say. And yeah, and then they let us backstage, and we waited in the corridor for a bit, and Keith Duffy was there. So Francisco yelled out, "Keith Duffy!" And then I happened to see the pianist who played for Toni Childs, who's a singer-songwriter called Mark Schultes, and he's from Queensland, and I've met him before at like songwriting workshops. And so I was like, "Mark Schultes!" And then I was like, "We're just about to meet the Corrs." And anyway, I don't know what happened after that, but then we were like led down this little corridor into this larger room, and in there was is it John Giddings or Giddens? Is he the tour manager?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a few other people, and it was actually quite a big space. And then I was expecting there to be some sort of order or someone in control or taking charge of things, and there wasn't. And then there were two like little rooms off to the side, and Rachel was sort of saying, "Oh, there's the Corrs kid sitting in there." And then somehow I was chatting to Anto. I don't know how that happened. And then Jim, I think someone called out Jim, and he came out. And then Sharon and Caroline walked in. And so I met them last year at the VIP event, but they were on a stage. So
yeah,
when they're on a stage, you're like, okay, there they are. Like, but when they just walk in, I was actually like taken aback of how tiny they are. Even though I've met them before, and like how beautiful and tiny they are. I was like, oh, okay. And so they wandered in, and then I think they were all, as I expected they would be, mesmerized by Rachel's adorable little girl who came with us. She was wearing a little vintage Corrs t-shirt and a little sparkly skirt, and so they just loved her. And yeah, but it was all just sort of like a little bit chaotic, and I just assumed at some point someone would get the Corrs together and we'd all get photos with them, but it was just kind of all over the place. And so Sharon was sort of saying, "Oh, so you know each other?" Because I think she recognized Francisco again, and that's when I said, "Yeah, we met each other last year at the VIP event, and we're now in a WhatsApp group, and we talk to each other pretty much every day." And I said, and Simon's in the group who runs the CorrsCast, and I was saying this to Sharon, and I'm like, "Do you know that podcast?" And she's like, "Oh, no." And then I was saying, "Oh, Simon's this guy in the UK, and during COVID he wanted to listen to a Corrs podcast, but there wasn't one, so he decided to start his own, and he started interviewing people." And she was like listening intently, and then Caroline was over to one side, and she's like, "Oh, do you mean the CorrsCast?"
No way.
Yes, I think that's how it went. Rachel was there. The personalities that we get from them on video was the same backstage. So Sharon was like in business mode. Like she's like, if you want any photos, you better get it done now because we're already running late and we've got to get on stage. And Caroline was kind of chilled, and Andrea was just like smiling, but sort of like her mind was definitely elsewhere. So yeah, I remember like Caroline and Sharon wandered in, and then Sharon was mentioning photos, and I was like, oh, should we get Andrea? Because she wandered across to the other side of the room. And I think that's when Sharon said, oh, we've got to get going. So that's made me realize, like, oh, this is a bit like, we just got to take this chance and ask for photos. No one's in charge here. So it was all a bit random. Like, I don't know who was taking photos of who, but we were just grabbing photos with them randomly. And then I said to Andrea, I said, oh, hi, I met you last year at the VIP event. And I said that was the best day of my life, but this kind of surpasses that. And then at some point, Francisco had given them flowers again. And at some point, I was taking a photo of Andrea with someone else, and I ended up with Andrea's rose, and then she was getting a photo with someone else. So I'm just like casually like, oh, Andrea, here's your rose back. And
nice.
And then I was like, oh, I know I'm not going to get a photo with Andrea unless I just like go up to her and I'm like, Andrea, can I please get a selfie? And she's like, she just like automatically does it. And I think I said, I play tin whistle because of you. Like, I'm sure
Cute.
a million other people have said that as well. Then they took a few photos with other people, and then they had to head off. So it was all like a bit of a blur, but yeah, like how amazing is that?
Super magical. Thanks for being such a wonderful advocate for the show. It's it's a bit surreal to hear the words CorrsCast come out of Caroline's mouth, but
yeah,
certainly not a bad thing. And as I'm sure they're aware, they are more than welcome to discuss anything to do with their careers, and specifically Forgiven Not Forgotten, anytime they want. Rachel, how was the meet and greet for you?
As Wendy said, I was pretty nervous, not only because, you're about to meet, people that you've really admired for many, many years, but I also had my 5-year-old with me. And for anyone who has kids, 5-year-olds are pretty unpredictable. And I was just not wanting anything to happen to spoil this moment, because, this is something that you dream of. Being invited backstage is like unreal, but 5-year-olds can change things in an instant just because they do what they do. So I was just hoping that it would go well and she wouldn't, do anything silly or anything like that. So anyway, it was basically, as Wendy said, it's just, it was a big open space and there were quite a few people in the room. It was pretty chaotic because, they're about to perform probably their biggest gig of the whole tour, maybe 15,000 people sold out in Melbourne. So it was, understandable that things were busy and rushed and things like that. But to be in that space with them was an amazing opportunity. I really don't feel like I was able to say what I wanted to say. I think, nerves and just the chaos of the moment took over. It would have been nice just to sort of be able to really reflect on what I wanted to say properly. But I think it was more just, I hope you're having a great time and it's great to be here and have a great show and just that sort of thing. So, I mean, they were wonderful to talk to and very personable and warm, and you could tell that they were excited about the tour and enjoying themselves, and that was enough for me. It was really good.
Yeah, with a 5-year-old in tow, which it's lovely to share the moment with, but your mind has to be preoccupied on them and their care and what they're doing.
In the room they had, they had a little bar set out with drinks and snacks, and I'd look over and I would see her like running up to the snacks, and I was like, oh my god, no. And she was like crawling under the coffee table, and it's just
cool.
It all happened very quickly, but it was to be able to have had that experience, it was great. I just wish I had been able to tell them how much they mean to me and how special the music's been to me over all these years.
And how much do they mean to you, and how special has that music meant? What would you have said?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot, Simon.
Correct.
No, look, it's just I've been trying to put it into words, and I find it actually really hard to put into words because for me, I started following them in 1996, so I was 11 years old or 10 years old at the time when I started following the Corrs. And for me, it's just they've always been part of my life, and through all different things have happened through my life, they've been sort of always there in the background, and it's just been, I can always put their music on and it just changes the way I feel. And it's just something that's, I don't know, personal to me, that when I play their music, it just makes me feel, I don't know, maybe like like the old days and the new days and everything that's happened in between. And it's just been, they've always just been there. So it's hard to put into words.
I think you've put that very aptly. Thank you very much for sharing.
And something I felt in the Melbourne concert, it was just, I was reflecting on the fact that I was in the same space, in the same seat pretty much. I had front row, 22 years ago, in the same seat, same arena, same opening sequence. And I was thinking of myself back in those, 22 years ago, still in that sort of frame of mind of loving the band. And it was interesting to think of all of those years gone by, but still come back to the same place.
Wonderful. Thank you. Francisco, how did you find this meet and greet?
Well, definitely. It was, I would say, as I said it before, totally unexpected. So Andrea Corrs was stunning with that silver dress that I really loved. So she was really, really pretty. By the time that I went in and there was Sharon there, I mean, just for you to think about it, I have give flowers to Sharon in love times at Scotland, at Madrid, she's the one that I have followed the most. And she just saw me and said, hey, she said, guapo, Francisco, here you are again. She said, like, again. It was so funny to hear that again. I said, like, yeah. So we got some cards and everything. So I really wanted to have as Mentari my book signed by Andrea. So I went by her and she told me, hey, Francisco, did you throw the flowers at Tassie? And I said, yes. And she said, I knew it. So she wrote me down. I'm going to show it to you. She puts thanks for the support and the flowers. You see there? The flowers. So it was really, really cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So we definitely had so much great time. Also to be able to speak with Jim, to be with Kid, which is such a great guy. Also with Anton Rinen. I told Anton how special it is for me to hear that solo on Queens of Hollywood. I mean, that's the solo guitar. It's a moment that I just say, okay, no more Corrs for now, just that guitar, because it's such great. I mean, it's a great part of the song. I let him know that I really appreciate that. So it was definitely a great moment over there to have Ruby in there, like just hanging around with the topic, with the kids. It was such great. But let me share two more things about that. Really getting close with this specific moment. First is that we were talking with Greg, with Christine, with Rachel, that on this venue we were about to give flowers to the Germain sisters. They were so happy. We gave them some of the really nice bouquets to them. And it happens something that I'm gonna let Rachel to share that with us, because it happens with Ruby. It happened specifically with Toni Childs, something that was definitely magical. And well, you're going to hear it from her.
Okay, so Toni Childs was one of the support acts, and typically during her set, she would do a little wander through the audience. And so for the Melbourne night, it was extra special. So Ruby, my 5-year-old, was sitting next to me in the seat, and Toni Childs comes wandering through the front row, and she has this song, and it's the words, I can't think exactly what it is. It's something like, you are beautiful, you're intelligent, you're gorgeous. And she was literally standing in front of Ruby and she was singing straight to her, and it was very it was very, very special, because she was just looking at her and singing these words, and Ruby was just looking up at her with these amazing, like, wow, this is amazing. So it was very special moment.
Beautiful.
You are beautiful, gorgeous, intelligent.
I would say that was a blessing. I told Rachel Ruiz just, by the way, it's her birthday today. So it was a blessing that she received. And it was such a great thing. And for me to close with Melbourne, well, not to Melbourne, but at least with this specific concert, is that after the concert, we have a meeting with Wendy at Rachel's house. Rachel have the most amazing Corrs collection that I have ever seen in my life. I mean, I have a good collection, but the one that she have with newspapers, magazines, the first program from the Blue, I mean, she has wonderful things like from 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really, really great. And from the first at Adelaide to Melbourne to Sandstone, one of the drinks that we have all around, which is that I love about Australia, is the Cab Sauv. The Cab Sauv is the Cabernet Sauvignon. So I love to ask for that. So we got a lot of Cab Sauvs all around. And yeah. That's the Cab Sauv. Yeah, we have a lot of Cab Sauv. And yeah, but basically, I would say that happens with the Melbourne and stuff.
That's a great summary of just little anecdoted moments that really made the gig different and special to you all. So that's great. Thanks for sharing. Was the Melbourne Cup gig after the Melbourne gig then?
The day after.
Cool. Then I've got my timeline right. I'm not going mad. This is good. So I guess that brings us round to the final gig for Australia before they moved on to New Zealand, which was the Melbourne Cup. I have to say, the video and the audio I've heard from this gig, for some reason, is just tremendous. It's come across in such a vibrant, fun. It just seems different. It might just be because it was a daytime gig. And it was a shorter set, so they had more energy. I don't know, but that's my experience of it. For those of you that were there, tell me what was this gig like?
I'll start because I got there first.
Makes sense.
So for those overseas, the Melbourne Cup it's a horse race basically, and in Melbourne it's a public holiday. And I would just say I was not sure whether or not to go because I'm not really for horse racing and gambling. So I was really torn about this one, but I thought it's the last chance I'm going to see them for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought if I just don't go anywhere near the horse racing and just stay at the gig, maybe that'll be okay. So yeah, it was kind of like if you bought a general ticket, you could go in, and it was actually a really beautiful like park area with trees and rose gardens, and the Melbourne Cup is also the sort of thing where people dress up like to the nines with fascinators and hats, and they had lots of like pastel kind of, I don't know, signs and buildings around like greenery. So it was like something out of a fairy tale. and so it took us a little while to find each other, and Rachel said, "Oh, can you get to the stage and secure a spot?" And I found the stage, and I'm like, "There's no one else here."
Wow.
it was like,
spot secured.
When I got there, yeah. When I got there was like a DJ playing, and then they stopped, and there was like basically no one at the stage, and and it was a really hot day, so I was like, I had put my hat on, so I just thought I'll just stand here. Anyway, we ended up finding each other and went back to the stage, and we grabbed onto that front railing and we held on for dear life, like right in front. And actually some people came in and tried to like get between, like I was standing next to Francisco, and yeah, so people actually tried to cut in and said, "Can we get in here?" And we're like, "We've been waiting here for hours." So yeah, any of us that like wanted to go to the like toilet, we'd hold onto that railing and like spread out so that no one would take our spot because it was all standing room. So the first act on was Australian rock singer called John Stevens and his band, and let me say it's a very different act to the Corrs because he's all about like rock and roll and rebellion, and it was a hot day, so he would be like drinking water and then like splashing that out over into the crowd and on himself. Wow. And like throwing bottles around, and then there would be a stage guy running after him with like a towel and like wipe up the stage and all the wiring and everything so that no one would get electrocuted basically. And yeah, so we stayed there through his performance, and then he finished, and all the crowd sort of dispersed again, and then yeah, Keith Duffy was there, so early, so we were like, Keith, and he came and chatted to us for, I reckon, probably like half an hour, maybe. If it seemed like quite a long time, and yeah, I got to say to him, he's looking really healthy, and asked him if the wind affected his playing up in Sandstone Point, but he said not with him because he was a bit further back. And yeah, we had a really good chat with him, and yeah, so it was such a really relaxed gig. Like Andrea was doing more improvisation, I think, than she had in the other gigs, like little bits of little vocal improv that she doesn't do as much, and like really, like her little melodic licks are really sophisticated and really cool. Yeah, and it just seemed like they were just all like having fun and were relaxed, and it was daytime and casual, and not casual in terms of dress, but
yeah,
I guess because it was the last Australian show, and yeah, it was just like really, really fun. It was really, really fun, and everyone in the audience was just like having a blast and singing along with most of the songs. And I must admit, like when Runaway came on, I did cry when everyone started singing, because you could see that Andrew was like still moved by it when everyone sung with her, and because we'd all stayed up the night before, like after the previous Melbourne gig, chatting. Like I was a bit tired, but yeah, I definitely got emotional during Runaway. Yeah, and it was just the best. We had the best day, and it was Rachel's birthday, which was extra special.
It's a very cool birthday present to yourself to be able to see the Corrs live. So that's very cool. And what a gig. From what I heard, like I said, it just sounded incredible. What do you put that down to, Rachel?
I think it was Francisco saying that the universe would provide, that we just would let everything fall into place. And it was like the end of everything, and everyone was just on such a high. We're all in the best mood, and it was my birthday, and it was fun, and it was a standing gig. So I think that's always, as you said, Simon, it's always, to me, it's more fun because you don't have to worry about people behind you. You just have fun. And it was, the atmosphere was fantastic. Actually, I was before the gig, I was wondering how it would be to be, I mean, it wasn't necessarily Corrs fans coming to the gig. So I was wondering what sort of reception they would get and how it was going to go. And it was great. It was so much fun. And it was, the crowd, the energy was really exciting. And I think we were just all so happy to be there. And it was a beautiful afternoon and, warm. And it was great.
Anything to add, Francisco?
Well, definitely. I have to remark that really important thing, it was Rachel's birthday. So we got a couple of bottle of wine. It was so much fun all around. Of course, what a way to celebrate your own birthday. One important thing about the venue is it was not a full concert. The full concert had 21 songs. This one had only 14. They skipped some of them. They skip also, when they just say goodbye, they go backstage and they go back. They skip that part. They went directly to the Runaway and Breathless and Toss of Faders. It was like really, really fast. One really important thing that we love it is that when Andrea started the tour, she wore barefoot, and she did it this time too at the you remember that, Mentari? You remember that for sure? So it happens also at the Melbourne Cup, and it was really great. And as a foreigner, I can tell you probably Wendy and Rachel they already get used to that, but definitely not for me. I mean, they really do the stuff. I mean, they really get dressed up for the Melbourne Cup, like in a really fancy dresses, the girls all around. And they told me that that's the way it started. By the end of the night, everybody's kind of drunk, like having good stuff, like singing in the train. On the way back, there were some people like having a great party, like right in there. Also, of course, with the speaker, with the chorus, all around. It was definitely a really way to end the road. And we're going to continue, I guess, just to tell some about the New Zealand stuff. But I can tell you, it was really hard for me because it was a decision not to go to New Zealand because I prefer to stay at Melbourne. And probably one of the best decisions. I had such a great time with Rachel, such a great time with Greg. I mean, just to go a little farther, it was really hard. This time it was really hard to say goodbye. My heart was half broken. So to say goodbye at the airport, it was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. It happens the same for Wendy. Wendy said, I want to stay here, right?
I so much didn't want to go that I was late to the airport and actually missed baggage check-in by 1 minute, but they had to do it manually. That's how much I didn't want to leave.
Francisco, you mentioned Greg. I just want to say hi, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Greg.
Hello, Greg.
Greg is another Corrs fan we met at the VIP night in Sydney last year. So that's where Francisco, Rachel, Greg and I all met at the
That's so
VIP.
cool.
Actually, after the VIP, yeah. Could I add 2 more things about the Melbourne Cup event?
Please do.
So when we were chatting to Keith Duffy, somehow I said to Keith, Francisco's move is to follow the Corrs around the world and buy them flowers. And Keith says, it's a good move. And the second notable thing from the Melbourne Cup gig was that you could see Caroline and Andrea's kids' side of stage when we were watching them on stage because we're so close. And it was actually really nice to see Caroline's daughter like really grooving out to the band playing.
Wow.
Because sometimes kids don't like the music that their parents play.
Sure.
But yeah, she was really getting into it. So that was like really great to see.
Let's keep it in the family. The next generation of the Corrs, please, thank you. That'd be great. They've got enough musical influences there.
I just want to say one last thing. In reading the reviews of the concerts, every review I've seen has just been really positive, and because they were just amazing shows. But a lot of the reviews called it 90s nostalgia. And I just want to say I have some of an issue with that, because nostalgia suggests that, you know, it was something that you used to know and then you forgot about it and then you came back to it. And I think for all of us, like, we've thought about the Corrs and listened to the Corrs and talked about the Corrs like for all these years. Like for us, it's not nostalgia; it's ongoing. So I just wanted to mention that.
I like that comment. For us, it's not nostalgia. That kind of concludes the parts of the tour that everybody here went to. As such, obviously the Corrs went on to do Auckland and Christchurch in New Zealand. Francisco, I think maybe rightly, didn't go and had a great time hanging on in Australia instead. The setlist weren't changed on those gigs, but hey, I know a few people that attended and they enjoyed them and they were amazing. I think 7 time zones was enough. I didn't invite anybody else on to discuss their experience in New Zealand, but if you're listening, please feel free to reach out and tell us what that experience is like, and we'll share it and congratulate you on seeing the gig yourself. I guess it's worth us just touching quickly on, because I know the time is ticking. I know it's getting very late in some places. There's definitely a bit of feedback that maybe there was too many support acts. And I just wanted to get the floor open to see if anybody had any comments about that, whether or not they did, maybe there was too many supports before the Corrs came on. What were your thoughts?
I don't want to incriminate anyone, but it was someone close to the band that said that to me, who actually felt there were too many support acts.
Okay.
You know, it did feel like a little too many because it ended up being quite a long night. I saw all the support acts in Sandstone Point, but in Melbourne, for example, I sort of came just before Natalie and Brulia played. But I'm interested in hearing what the others thought.
Yeah. Patricia, what did you think? Obviously, it's your first live gig, so I guess you get to see more people, but then you also had the meet and greet, so you kind of missed some of it as well. So
Yeah, I actually couldn't see the two main sisters because Mentari and I had to go out quite a few times, as I mentioned, so I missed them. I could see a bit of Toni Childs, but yeah, and of course a bit of Natalie. But yeah, for me, too many, because I had to wait so long to see the Corrs. So yeah, I mean, I was at the venue like 5 or 5:30 p.m. I had to wait so many hours to see the Corrs. So it was, I just feel that I don't really need so much support acts. They don't need it, or maybe not anymore. I don't know if it was what it was like back then, if they had so many supporting acts. But yeah, it was a bit weird. I felt like they could do just with Natalie.
Yeah, I've definitely been at Corrs gigs where there's been no support. And I've been at Corrs gigs where there has been a smaller support act, but not like doing a full set. It would be maybe a half an hour just to drum the crowd up, make sure everybody's got their drinks, everybody's ready to listen to some music and have a great night. But having 3 support acts doing a longer sets just seemed, yeah, I was definitely questioning that myself. And obviously I didn't experience that. But yeah. Shiela, what did you think in your country? Was there too many supports, or are you glad to see these other acts perform for the first time there, or?
For that, actually, we didn't go inside the inside immediately. So we just, like, on the first night, we just came in when it's already the chorus.
Nice.
So we can with the rain because we were outside and we were welcoming the concert on the first night. We missed the support. So immediately when we came in, it's already Caroline's turn. But in the second night, that was when I saw a little bit of Jermaine, but I wasn't able to start it as well because the night before I saw them at the exit and I asked for a photograph. So I was like a little bit shy, like I didn't want to, but then I asked for a photograph. So the next night, I thought maybe I'm gonna try to watch. Their music is good actually, but I think in terms of having an opening act, someone like Natalie Imbruglia, it's nice. Like they're almost within the same generation of music and like kind of like the same sound. So I think it's okay. But I think it's fine for them to have an opening act. Maybe if they're not gonna take too much of the time of the concert, I think it's
Mentari, what did you think of having support acts in Jakarta?
We only like in the Philippines, we only had Jermaine in Jakarta, and they did a really great job. Getting the audience going and getting them in the right mood, which was really nice. And obviously, a lot of us weren't too familiar with their music, but we did. But I think they put on a good show for all of us, like a warm up sort of.
Sure.
And I think one opening act was pretty good, but 3 I can see how it could be too many for some people, with each of them playing a longish set. So it was I can see how some people found it too much, since a lot of people, most people were there for the course, of course, and the wait. And I could imagine the wait being a little too long with 3 supporting acts, though it's still better than last year in Desert Valley, because there were like 4, 5 supporting acts back then.
Yeah,
I get why they wanted to include all 3 supporting acts in their concerts in Australia. But I think a lot of people would have preferred that if they played shorter sets.
I think it's a decision by the promoters, and I think it's one that hopefully they'll hear that maybe hear the rumblings that maybe there's too many. 2, maybe at a push 3 or more. It just seems too many for me. Francisco, what was your experience of the support acts? I know you're a fan of Jermaine anyway. I love seeing Jermaine live. I've seen them live a couple of times. Would it have just been fine with just them as a support act?
Well, I have to tell you, at least for me, I don't think they were support. For me, Natalie is also a main performer. So I mean, over here at Mexico, and also in United States, Natalie is much more famous than the Corrs.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I mean, we love the Corrs, but Natalie is much more famous. So to have her over there, it was like, okay, there are two main acts, okay, and then the Germain and then Toni Childs opening for them. So I love Germain sisters; they are so grateful. So to be honest, I would make it a double, but that's just my case. I really like it.
It's fine.
So it was, and definitely Natalie was stunning. I mean, she was doing a really great show.
Yeah, I remember hearing Left of the Middle is the debut album, isn't it? I remember hearing that in the 90s and liking it then. I'd definitely see it, but I don't know if I'd enjoy it as much if I'd want it to get out of the way so I can see the Corrs. So it's, yeah, I'd kind of, it's a shame. I'd probably want to see them separate, but that's my own preference. I think that really comes to the end of everything I have that I wanted to explore. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for taking the time and for accommodating each other in our respective time zones. 7 time zones is a feat of madness, but I think we've basically done it, which is incredible. So well done to you all. And thank you for sharing and your honest, candid experiences of what it's been like to be a part of this tour and to see the band live, some for the first time, some for many. It's been really lovely to hear. And I almost feel like I've been on that tour as well with you, but maybe less wine. I don't know. I'd love if each of you, because we might have listeners that want to reach out, could share each of your social media, and maybe there's a shout out to other fans in your region you wanted to say hi to that may also listen to this. We'll go in tour order because that's the order the Corrs chose to tour in. Mentari.
You can reach out to me on Instagram, where I'm always open to interact with Corrs fans, with fellow Corrs fans, with people in the community. So my personal Instagram handle is Sandiastri. So it's SANDISTRI. And I also run an Indonesian fan page called Taman the Corrs. So it's TAMAN followed by the Corrs. To all my friends in Indonesia, my friends and fellow fans, I won't mention any names because there are just too many of them. But we've been waiting for the band for so many years, and it's been 22 years since they were here previously and 10 years since Sharon performed in Jakarta. And now that we managed to witness their greatness in person, and I wouldn't ask for any other person to spend it with. It was amazing. You guys were amazing, so thank you so much. And also, and I would like to thank Patricia for organizing the meet and greet in Perth. I couldn't thank you enough. None of that would have happened without your effort. And also, thank you, Rachel, for messaging me repeatedly on Instagram and for trying to call me. And sorry, it took me quite a while to finally get back to you all, but thank you so much. And to the Corrs community in general, I love you. This is the best fan community that anyone could ask for, and I'm so glad that you are in my life.
Shiela?
Hello. So my social media accounts, just follow at Shiela Oliveros. That's at SHIELA OLIVEROS. And that is actually my personal account. But I also handle the hardcore band Instagram. It's just new. And of course, please follow the Philippi. And I would like to grab this opportunity to say hello to the Corrs Philippines. Yen, Grace, George, JC, RV, Shell, Kit, Clarita, Denise, Jane, Naya, Elaine, Camille, Len, Joy, and Jay. It's what they community in the Philippines. Of course, thank you so much to the whole Corrs team for bringing the band in the Philippines, and of course in Indonesia and in Australia and in New Zealand. It really means so much to us, the band, and hopefully we're gonna see each other again soon. And thank you, of course, to Simon for having us here at the Perth. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiela. And for every name you mentioned, hi, and thanks for listening. And yeah, it's so great we can contact you as part of the community. Thank you. Patricia.
Okay, so yeah, I've got my fan page, Absolute the Course on Instagram. So it's like absolute then underscore and the course. So yeah. I have no private page, so whoever wants to contact me, just go ahead and feel free. So I'm also in a WhatsApp group with German fans who were so welcoming when I became a fan, and I'm so grateful to be part of this group. So I just want to say hi and thank you to Yvonne, Jan, Corinna, Julia, and Sina, who are so close to my heart, who share things with me, send me things, and yeah, I just want to say thanks for them and to them. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Patricia, and thank you for the encouragement of those German fans. We hear you, we see you. Thank you for listening, and we love you. Wendy, where can people get in touch with you?
I'm on Instagram at Wendy Lang Music, WendyLang Music. And I'd like to give a shout out to two Brisbane friends who gave me a lift up to the Sandstone Point concert. And that is David McDonald and Matteo Grilli. And they're both Celtic fiddle players in Brisbane. David's very integral to the traditional Irish music scene here. So it was wonderful. Like even though I met Rachel at the concert, I got a lift up with them and back. And so it was really so much fun to talk about the Corrs concert with them and introduce them to Rachel as well, to have those worlds collide. And yeah, just a big thank you to Rachel and Francisco, who are both two of the most like wholehearted, generous people that I know, and also to you, Simon, as well. So it's been so wonderful to get to know you over this past year since the concert last year. What an amazing ride.
Long may it continue. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Rachel, how can people get in contact with you?
So I'm on Instagram as well. So my username is Rachel Lewis Photography, RachelLewis Photography, PHOTOGRAPHY. And I would like to say a special thank you to Simon, Francisco, Wendy, and also some other Australian fans. We've got Jess, Greg, and Leighton. And special thanks also to Christine from California. And it's just been such a pleasure to spend time with you all and to share this experience with you all. It's been just the best time of my life.
You are more than welcome. You bring a lot of joy and fan excitement with the years you've been loving the band to this whole environment and this group of people. So thank you, Rachel. Francisco, how can people find you on the socials?
I'm on Instagram. My personal and dedicated account for the course is FCOSALINAS 3, the number 3. And one of the great things is that course community things really happen this time. So I got in touch by Shiela over here. She said, hey, there is a girl called Renata that has something from the Fanatic Course of Brazil. Can you take care of that and give it to the course? And I said, I just wrote back and I say, hey, I don't know if I can do that. I'll do my best. But I mean, she just told me, hey, you have much more opportunities, so you can do it. So what I answered to them is, hey, I can ask with Ella your name, because at Tassie, Rachel asked to Ella, and Rachel gave to Ella some stuff for them, some koala and a really beautiful letter with stuff. And Ella really took care of that. She sent a confirmation that the package was delivered. And when I get these things from Renata, after an hour, we got the news that we were about to have the meet and greet. And then I went to the meet and greet with the letter and with the bracelets and the stuff. I gave it to Sharon, since I know Sharon is really close to the Fanatic Course of Brazil. And I told Sharon, hey, Sharon, here you have, but hey, I need proof. I said, yeah. So Sharon go like that, like, okay, take a photo. So I took the photo with the staff and with Sharon Corr. And well, that was a confirmation that the package was delivered. So it's really glad to have that. We also had in contact with a guy that I haven't met in person, but I know it will happen for sure, which is Alan Richardson. Alan Richardson came all the way from Ireland, and he got a tattoo of them at the arm with some lyrics of the course. And definitely Corrs community is something, well, here we are, right? That is the Corrs community. So it's something that I would say there's a word that is common among all us, which is love. So we really like this, we really enjoy it, and definitely we just spare good things all around. I remember one thing that just came to my mind. It happens, I think, probably Melbourne, yeah, where Andrea Corrs said that really bad things are happening right now in the world, all the bad things in Gaza and stuff. But she said, well, over here is not, so let's have a great time, let's have love, and let's pray for everybody that is out there that are not having the best time right now. So to share love, to share good vibes, I would say it's a one way to give to others.
That's a great sentiment to end on, Francisco. Thank you so much. And yeah, those words from Andrea are definitely poignant at the moment. So it's definitely in everyone's mind. I'll make sure that those details are below for each and every one of you in the show notes as well. So people can read the show notes and click the links if appropriate.
Thank you so much, Simon. I really appreciate what you do. I mean, all the CorrsCast is something really, really magical. So there's no words for us to thank you. This big effort that you're doing, I know you really enjoy it, but definitely you're providing to us a lot of happiness, great moments. And believe me, right now, just to go through all the stories is just a way like to live them again. I am quite sure we are producing exactly the same chemical substances in our bodies right now that we had at the venues we had at Australia, and definitely so much happiness all around.
What a better way to relive those gigs and keep those memories fresh than have a recording of those sentiments, right? To listen back to and for others to share as well. So yeah, hopefully that will inspire others as well. That's the intent, and certainly my hope. I guess we have finally achieved the unachievable, which is 7 different time zones. Thank you so much for everybody's willingness to stay up, to get up early, to move this, to move that. You've all been very patient with each other to make this work. I didn't think it would work as easy as it has. Shiela, thank you especially for you to have to change venues, to go and get a coffee, to get... This CorrsCast episode is somewhat sponsored by Starbucks this time, so cool. Thank you for that. That's really kind of you to move. You've made it especially special to be here.
Thank you, everyone, especially to those in Australia who stayed up late for this.
Thank you. Thanks so much, everyone. It was really fun.
Thank you, Simon, for organizing all this.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night.
Bye. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you so much for those that have listened this far and relived the experiences with us. Thank you for listening. As always, you've been listening to CorrsCast.